Well, that was a great beginning, Maude. Thank you very much for getting us off to a terrific start. I don't know how many issues you named, but you certainly named one or two. And following up with you, it's Jim Stanford, who is with the UNIFOR Union. You may see him on the CBC Bottom Line periodically as he tries to bring some common sense into our economics. So common sense, Jim, let's go.
All right, Bill, how wonderful to be back in my hometown, Calgary, Alberta. Everyone's always surprised to hear that a left-wing pinko economist came from Calgary, Alberta. But not everyone in Calgary is conservative. In fact, I find fewer and fewer conservatives in Calgary all the time. But now I temporarily live in Toronto, where everyone's excited this week. Because we have a corrupt, mean-spirited right-wing politician crashing and burning before our eyes. So let's just hope that becomes a trend, shall we? All right. Now, one of the great things about having kids, there's lots of great things. One of the great things is they keep you in touch with popular culture, okay? Music, clothes, communications. Okay, including this thing where they send each other secret codes, okay, on their phones, like this good Made in Canada phone you'll notice that I've got up there, okay, like this one, IDTS. Anybody know what that means?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. That's right. It took me a while to get that right. Okay, I don't think so. So let's try it with me together here. IDTS. I don't think so. Very good, thank you. Yes, I don't think so. Every now and then I notice there's an F that gets thrown into these codes. Maybe someone can help me understand that as a parent afterwards. So, right now, over at the convention center, Prime Minister Harper's giving a big speech. His goal, change the channel. Okay, he wants to stop talking about the Senate. He wants to start talking again about the economy, because what is supposed to be the strongest aspect of the Conservative brand is not integrity anymore, in case you haven't noticed. It's supposed to be that they're good economic managers, okay? And we are going to hear this ad nauseum for the next 2 years. Get yourselves ready. So let's use the secret IM instant messaging code to evaluate these claims. Are they indeed good economic managers? Claim number 1, Canada's economy is a job-creating machine. Right? Have we heard this? I don't think so. All right, you guys are with the program here. And here's the evidence. Okay, yes, we do create some jobs. We do create some jobs, but not nearly enough jobs for the people who are in Canada who need jobs and who can work and whose work will contribute to our prosperity in the future. When Stephen Harper took office at the end of 2005, 62.6% of working-age Canadians had a job. That has fallen by almost a full percentage point. Okay, 250,000 missing jobs. No matter how they try to spin the money, our economy is not creating enough jobs for the needs of Canadians and the potential of Canadians. So, in fact, the employment rate has been falling over the last 2 years. So not only has it fallen, it is still continuing to fall. And this is the economic reality. So on this claim that Canada's economy is a job-creating machine, I don't think so. All right. Next claim. Canada's economy survived the recession better than anyone else, right? I'm surprised they don't have a repetitive strain injury up in Ottawa from patting themselves on the back non-stop for the last 5 years. The reality is we have not kept up with our population in terms of creating new jobs, and we have actually fallen behind most of the rest of the industrialized world in this regard. If we look at the true statistic that matters, which is the employment rate, the percentage of working-age people who have a job, how did it change over that recessionary period? Did we in fact survive better than anyone else? Are we number 1? Like the hockey team at the Vancouver Olympics? We're kind of more like the men's soccer team, ranked 105th in the world. Last ranking. This is the whole list. I know this is nauseating detail. Canada ranked 20th out of the 34 countries in the OECD, judged by the change in the employment rate over the recession. So there's no justification for the back-patting that goes on in Ottawa. And regarding this claim, I don't think so. Okay, another claim. Free trade is helping Canada's exports, and if you oppose free trade, you're against exports and you're an economic imbecile. Okay, I can't tell you how often that claim has been leveled at me. Here's the evidence on Stephen Harper's performance on exports. When he took office, 38% of our GDP was exported. Today, less than 30%, and the number is still falling. I care about exports. We do have to have exports to pay for our imports and to create jobs, but signing free trade agreements is hurting our exports, not helping them. So on this claim, I don't think so. Alrighty. I could be a preacher, Bill. I think I'm doing all right. You and me.
Bring you off the stage pretty quickly.
The Conservatives are strengthening our role in the world economy. Here's the evidence. When Harper took power, we had a $50 billion balance of payments surplus. Now we have a $63 billion balance of payments deficit. The more free trade agreements we sign, the higher our dollar goes. The more oil we export, the worse our trade performance becomes. And in fact, the current account balance is getting worse all the time. On this claim, I don't think so. Another claim about businesses. Their tax cuts are going to stimulate investment that we need for our future prosperity. Look how they've cut the corporate income tax rate by almost 30% since they came into power. This was going to unleash a big boom in business capital spending. For those of you who are hard of seeing, I know it's hard to see the increase in capital spending there. Okay, I'll bring it to you. There it is. $12 billion a year is what those tax cuts are costing us. If there was a scandal that should bring down this government, it should be the waste of $12 billion a year. Think about Nigel Wright's $90,000 check. You would have to write 135,000 $90,000 checks. Do the math on your smartphone right now. 135,000 of those checks a year to pay that $12 billion down the drain. And the investment rate is still falling. Another indication, the only thing that's gone up, corporate cash since the Harper government was elected. If you cut taxes, they're making profits, but they're not spending it. What happens? They're sitting on it. Now $600 billion in corporate cash uninvested. So the claim that they've stimulated investment, I don't think so. Similarly with the claim that they will unleash free enterprise spirit that will innovate new products and services and lead us to the promised land, or perhaps we could call it the economic G-spot, which the free market will deliver. Here's business spending on innovation since Harper took office, from 1.1% down to 0.8%, the lowest level since Statistics Canada started gathering this data, and it's still falling. Is conservative policy supporting innovation? I don't think so. Same goes for this whole issue of productivity. There's nothing more productive than the free market, as you know. So what's happened to our productivity growth under Stephen Harper? The decade before the Conservatives came in, not great, but it's there, 1.75% a year. Since Stephen Harper was elected, the lowest average annual productivity growth of any Prime Minister in Canada's post-war history, and it's still falling. So on this claim, I don't think so. So let's have a little economics lesson for the Conservatives. The real value of economic activity comes as follows, with this simple formula. We start with the gifts of nature, the resources, the space, the air, the water that we're blessed to have, and then we add value to it through our labor, through our brains and our brawn and our ingenuity. That is the source of value, not tax cuts, not free trade agreements, not deregulation. Want more economic value, you have to do more work, and you have to value that work, because that is the source of prosperity. But Conservatives are doing the opposite. They're ensuring that we have less work to do in Canada, and they're devaluing work and workers through their systematic attacks on workers, their systematic attack on wages, and now their systematic attack on unions. Look at the Conservative policy book that they're reading this weekend. 9 bills attacking unions, 2 more attacking pensions, 1 attacking employment insurance. Try and find a bill in that proposal that's anything about job and lifting up standards and valuing what you do, and you're going to be disappointed. So it's no surprise that Canada's economy has deteriorated under their oversight. By every fundamental economic measure, employment, productivity, investment, innovation, exports, global engagement, and ultimately mass prosperity. By every fundamental measure of economic performance, Canada has gone backwards since the Conservatives were elected, not forward. These are the real facts, not the spin. All the data is from Statistics Canada, and we'll put it all online when we're finished. Not only have things been bad, but they are actually getting worse. All of those indicators have deteriorated in the last 2 years, suggesting continued decline. So, on the overall claim, Conservatives are good economic managers.